What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for another episode review of Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3, Episode 3. Oh, I got that right on the first try. Let me stop. But anyway, so we get up into the episode and it's called Human Capital. We get into the episode and we see Tariq and Brayden, they out there shopping and getting tailor-made suits or whatever. Meanwhile, you got Kane and them, Kane doing his thing or whatever. He got what's his name? He got Lorenzo making drops and all that stuff and getting his butt beat. You know what? At this point, I'm not even mad at Kane, but I really want Kane to be careful. Because as much as I'm here for what he's doing to Lorenzo, I really don't trust Lorenzo. Lorenzo know that at this point he don't have a leg to stand on. But he seemed like the type of person that'll find a way to do some Grammy stuff to Kane just to get back at him or whatever to get out this situation. He already feel like it's beneath him to be on his corner selling Mecca stuff or whatever just because Mecca had your woman first. So there's that. And Kane got the upper hand, got his ass being beat up and everything. So, there's that. He was like, this just a taste of what you gonna get for doing what you did to Zeke and Drew. And so you got Effie, she out here doing her little thing, selling a little product and all that stuff. Meanwhile, you got Drew. Let's just talk about Drew for a second. Drew going through some things, okay? When we first see Drew is fucking the dog shit out of some nigga. And I said, wow, so Drew is a top? He is a top? Maybe I missed that. Maybe I forgot about that. But baby, probably a top where he versed. Because I just thought he was a bottom a little bit. I don't know why. He just gives me bottom tees. He really gives me verse, but he gives me bottom tees too. But okay, so he doing that and everything, and he going on Grindr. Old boy tried to, snuggle with him, and he took his thing. I said I would have did the same thing, baby. This was a hookup. This ain't cuddle time afterwards. Go do what you got to do, And as he walking out, the guy walking out, Drew getting his next hookup ready. And Kane see old boy and was like, damn, another one? I said, shit. Drew getting more ass than Kane at this point. And then they all get a text or whatever from Norma's man basically telling them to come to the warehouse. This whole situation with, what's his name, Tariq, they up there getting the suits ready or whatever. And David's like, a suit ain't going to change the way people look at you or whatever. And he was like, well, it already has somewhat. It's in the process. I don't know. We see the different levels of what's going on, the different fractions, okay? And, when they get down there to the warehouse, it don't matter if you got on a suit. It don't matter if you got on street clothes. Mr. Man that worked with Norma, he want the stuff done. He said, baby, why is all this product still here? Half the product still here. Here comes Brayden. No, it's just 1/3. He was like, don't play with me. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this. Y'all say that y'all can step up and y'all can take Mecca's place and y'all can clear out his inventory. Y'all don't get this done. This person going to get done. This person going to get done. And then this person going to get done. I said, what you talking about? Baby, he pulled out a picture of Brayden's family, mama and daddy. He pulled out a picture of Diana for Kane. And he pulled out a picture of grandma for Tariq. He was like, listen, Mr. Brayden, I'll take your parents out first. Then I'll take that little girl out. And I'll leave grandma because we got to respect the elderly for last. I said, what? And then told Effie, don't worry about you, Orphan Annie, because if they don't get it done, I'll kill all their asses. I said, y'all got to get on the ball. Meanwhile, while Effie out there doing her drops and stuff, one of the people that was talking to her was like, asking her how things is going up there in Stansfield. And she said she hasn't started it back up yet. And old girl was like, is this that Tariq bullshit or whatever? I said, oh, so you be talking to her about Tariq and everything? I was like, this ain't the Effie I know. She was like, girl, chill. And so she wound up having a conversation with Tariq and was like, she ready to start back up at Stansfield. Now, see, at this point, I don't know how I feel about Effie. Effie last week, I don't know. I don't really think she's a CI. okay? Because we all agree, I feel like, that there has to be more than one CI. It can't just be, Saxe. Because in my opinion, Jenny did say the CI, her CI was Saxe, told him that. He got her the information, or he stumbled onto the information that Davis and Monet has secret phone calls. Okay, fine. But it would make sense, especially if they were going directly after Tariq and his organization, trying to get this RICO case against him. It would make sense to have a student or someone that's so close to them implement it some way, somehow. So we're getting, in my opinion, like different people that are new that's coming to the cast, and everybody's kind of suspicious to me, And then we have Effie, after what she did last week with, putting aside some drugs for Stansfield, and was about to restart course correct herself, but then she decided against it. And then she let that lady get into her head, and then that's when she went on ahead and told Tariq that I want to start this up again. And Tariq really wasn't here for it because the campus is hot and all that stuff and what happened. But she was like, she got a goal of money that she's setting aside for school, grad school, to live off of. And he was like, oh dang, so that's why you riding around in that beat up car. She said, well, nigga, you ain't even got one, so who's you to talk, And I said, damn, he still ain't got no car, nigga, you look like me. But anyway, see, let me tell you something. Tariq is a short enough show, saying that, you ain't got to have a car to get around, because he's still doing his thing, and who is bragging him around? Everybody else, okay? Listen, so he was like, okay, I get it. She really don't have anybody. Everybody else has somebody, but she really don't have anybody. So he was like, just go ahead, do what you got to do. You the one that's smart enough not to get caught. Meanwhile, we get over there to school, and them two come in the classroom together. Diane is already there. The TA comes in. They smiling at each other. He just look a little weird. He looks a little weird. He looks a little off, and he's on my suspect list, okay? He's on one of my lists that I've been saying about the new people not to trust. I really don't trust him. First of all, he look a little bit too old to be trying to get at Diane. Technically speaking, they're of age, but he just look a little bit too old, and I don't trust his motives. And it's not that I don't trust his motives. It's just that I can't read him right about now. He got this lazy look about him that I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Something about him just don't fit right with me. I don't trust Braden's sister at all for whatever reason. She seemed cool, but I just don't trust her because she's a Weston. Okay, there's that. Meanwhile, they get into the whole conversation of the episode, which is called Human Capital, and that's the topic at the school for the class. And then, they're talking about human capital. Diane said human capital is like when you use somebody until they are no longer of service to them. And she said, for example, my family used me until I was no longer of service to them. I said, girl, you put yourself up into that situation. So we don't feel sorry for you, boo-boo. And then they start talking about economic stuff, and, I think Diane started saying something about when somebody do something and only for them to take it and do it themselves or whatever. I'm sitting here like, please, stop it. Because even brown skin Keisha was like, oh, that seems a little personal. She picked up on it right away because Effie was looking like, excuse me, Miss Diane, I'm going to need you to just stop it, okay? You and Tariq was never going to work out. It's not going to work out. Let it go. Get with Mr. Salam Alam Aleka. Get with him, no shade, if that's what you're going to do, okay? Meanwhile, we had to defer all of this stuff that was going on because one boy called out, Braden's sister about them using human capital and putting their names on everything, and their name is the reason why she was up in that seat and all that stuff. Girl, the teacher had to come through and say, we can have our opinions, but we gonna be respectful. That's what we gonna do. I said, oops. Meanwhile, Kanan popped up right in the midst of Diane talking to the TA dude, and this motherfucker, and see, this is another thing. If you gonna Google somebody, please don't tell them that they Googled you, especially if you want them to be on your side and you want them to keep on trying to get to know you. Don't tell them that you Googled them and Googled their father and all that stuff, because that's exactly what he said. Drugs, manslaughter, getting out of jail off of it. I said, excuse me. If I had some feelings for you, baby, that dried up. Because why? Why are you gonna tell me what I already know, and what is your intention? Like, I just don't trust you in this instance doing some stuff like that. And then here come Kane trying to give her a gun. She like, calm down. You know, calm down. I mean, I understand stuff is hot, but we ain't finna do this up here. And so he was like, well, who is old boy? He was like, that's my boss. He said, that's your boss? You working a 9 to 5? No, I can't let you go out like that. Girl, he pulled out some money and gave it to her. I said, that's what you should have gave her in the first place instead of trying to give her a gun on the campus, okay? But anyway, speaking of Monet up at the bar and Whitman come up in there, and let me just tell you this, I'm tired of him because Whitman was already in a meeting with Jenny and Blanca, right? Whitman is so much more irritating than Blanca to me, okay? They done got them up in this small ass office. They're not getting any, leeway in wherever they need to go. Whitman don't understand why are they focused on Tariq. Okay, y'all need to be focused on whatchamacallit. You need to be focused on Monet, okay? And I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Whitman, everybody up in this whole situation that y'all got going on, they got their own motives. Just like you're the only reason why you're trying so hard to get Monet to hide us because you think that she killed Carrie. 9 and 10, she probably did, but at this point in time, I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure because y'all know Carrie was she was on some stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't know if the girl was mental, but she was a sex addict. She did have some issues or whatever. So it is a possibility she could have did something to herself, and then also a possibility that Monet had something to do with it. We just don't know at this point. But I just need him to back the freak off, okay? He doing way too much, popping up at her bar and everything. And I'm just like, okay, this pop-up stuff, you think I'm supposed to be intimidated? You think I'm supposed to be scared and all this stuff? It's just irritating. Like, somebody needs to put a bullet in him. I'm sorry. They should have took him out. Okay? He shouldn't have never came back into this season. I just really don't see it for him. Jenny, at this point, I don't think that I know no one knows that Lauren is still alive. Because Jenny had made that clear last week when she was talking to Lauren and said that the only people that know that she's still alive is, I think, her supervisor and her, And somebody said, so her family didn't have a funeral or whatever. They probably did, and they probably had a closed casket or, switched out a body. I don't know how they did that, but that was a good question because how did y'all, do her parents even know? You know what I'm saying? And so at this point, you saw the way Jenny reacted when they had started talking about the people that had got killed and or supposedly murdered or whatever by Tariq or whoever in the organization. And then they mentioned Lauren, and then here come Jenny. Lauren was a car accident. She died in a car accident, and woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, why you getting so defensive? Like, I know that you're trying to keep it under wraps, but I don't trust Jenny. Well, I don't trust none of the officers. Well, I would say out of all of the officers, out of Jenny, Whitman, Blanca, and Saxe, I trust Blanca the most because Blanca don't have a different type of, situation. She proved herself. Everybody else is on some fake shit. You know what I'm saying? They doing the most, But I still can't stand all of them anyway. So I'm just sitting here like, this is a mess. Y'all doing a lot. For what? I just really need Whitman to go because he's been more irritating right off the bat than Blanca, and I never thought that would happen. I never thought that would happen, and it is. It's crazy. So then we get Monet. She gonna meet up with Davis and telling him, you don't need to be doing all that calling and hanging up type of stuff, whatever. And he was like, what you talking about? I ain't call you or what? Nothing like that. So he had to show her to prove that he didn't call her, and we already know who calls her and hung up. It was Saxe, okay? Saxe did all of that, and he erased the number. And so, eventually Monet winds up giving him a different burner phone. But she had to tell him about Whitman, okay? Whitman coming after her, basically wanted her to come in and talk, and all this stuff or whatever. And I wouldn't even did anything. Women just gotta go. He just frustrates me. He's in his feelings because also, they won't let him at his job get any information and go into Ramirez's file. Cause y'all remember, Monet was messing around with Ramirez, and Ramirez was the one that was, cutting corners or whatever for her on the inside. And unfortunately, he's gone, and so now he done connected it to Monet, and that's what. He trying to get the information, they blocking him, so that's making him even more pissed, and all of the stuff about Carrie. Now, let me just go ahead and go to this part, because I was so here for it a little bit, but then I wasn't, because I just knew this was going to amp him up. Davis went on ahead and took Monet into the conference room, had Whitman come down there, had a little discussion, and she wasn't gonna say anything. So they was just playing like, listen, you wanted her to, you wanted a little conversation or whatever. Here go your conversation. He like, bitch, she ain't even saying nothing, but I'm saying all the stuff. And at the end of the day, he just keep on coming with the whole thing about, she had something to do with Carrie's death, and then he was like, just taunting her to the point where she wasn't saying anything until she exploded and said, what you need to do is be looking into who killed the GTG people, them guap niggas that had probably something to do with Zeke's death. And then here come Whitman. Oh, so GTG, huh? Here I am thinking the whole time that, Zeke got killed because he was about to run away with Dante. He had got killed. His murder was in, connection with Dante Spears' murder. And then I'm thinking that, you wind up killing Zeke because of the fact that he was going to go away with Dante and leave your ass, and he was about to rat on your ass and all this stuff. Oh, why he say that? Baby, girl, Monet got up and said, you know what? That's a goddamn lie. And the only reason why you doing all of this is because you mad and pussy whooped over the fact that your bitch, you couldn't protect your bitch from getting killed and all that stuff. Maybe if you was doing all of that and worried about her, she'd still be here. And truth be told, I was glad she said that, because finally somebody said the truth. But at the same time, I was with Davis when he was like, you weren't supposed to say nothing. Because now this is just about to amp him up. This is about to amp him up, and now about to have him looking into the GTG, okay? And he like, is there anything that we need to find, or is there anything he's going to find? And I'm sitting here like, at the end of the day, no matter where they look, it's going to be something. Meanwhile, over there with Kane and Lorenzo, Kane got Lorenzo, Drew, and Diane together because he showed them the picture of Diane that old boy showed them. And they were like, so what the freak did you do? How did Diane get into this? He was like, I didn't put her into nothing. It's just that normal people is basically like, if we don't get this stuff done, and get this product out here and get more people to get this product, we gonna be done for. This is all a family issue right about now, because everybody's on a chopping block, and of course, Kane is making the rules. Kane is telling all the stuff of what they need to do and everything. And yeah, Diane has an issue with it because she's like, why are you trying to be head when Poppy's sitting right here? I said, because Poppy ain't in control like you think he is, all right? And Drew, he over there getting up in his feelings and all this stuff, especially when Diane said stuff, mention Everett's name as to when stuff started really falling apart, or just got sloppy or whatever, or somebody that could be on the inside and doing some funny shit. And he was like, what, are you serious? I'm sitting here like, let Everett go, okay? So the whole time while Kane trying to explain what's going on, Drew is not really 100% focused. And see, this is what Kane meant. This is what Kane meant the whole time when he was trying to tell Lorenzo that Drew is not ready to be leader, okay? Kane should be leader. And in actuality, none of them are ready to be leaders, okay? Because Kane sometimes do not think before he put action into things. He's more so of an enforcer. That's how he was grown to be. That's how he was made to be, and that is exactly what he's proven himself 100%. He has no problem taking on a task when told to do so. But sometimes it's an issue when he tries to be in control and, it don't work all the way. He don't use his mind 100% to think of a logical situation or a logical solution to things, okay? His whole thing is to just take everybody out, because that's what he wanted to do with Frank's kids, Uncle Frank. Remember, Evelyn came in there trying to give Monet the money, I think on the first and second episode. Meanwhile, they the ones that killed Uncle Frank because they had thought that Uncle Frank was a rat, right? And so now Kane want to take them out, the kids. And so I'm sitting here like, for what? Just to get their connect or whatever. And then Drew is like, that just don't make sense at this point. But the whole time, Drew, he has the ideas. When he focuses on a situation, he knows what to do. He can give you that logical idea. He can give you a logical solution, which he came up with, like, let's take out the connect so that we won't have to kill the sons that we grew up with, you know, that's like cousins to us. And because they didn't know that their daddy was a rat. So let's just take out the connect so that they have to come over and get their products from us. All right, that's the easy solution. But at the same time, Drew over there on his phone with Grindr hookups and asking for pictures and all of this stuff. And I'm sitting here like, this is why he's not a leader material yet. He's not focused on the business. And at this point, he's good at the business, but this is not in his heart. You know, he has leader potential. Once he focuses and hones in on what he needs to do, he'll do it, he'll get it done, he'll come up with the logical solution like we saw, where people that we know don't have to get hurt and we can all get up and get a piece of everything. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's thinking about dick. He's thinking about ass, all right? He's on Grindr. He's not fully focused. He's heartbroken, okay? Because also earlier we saw him looking at Everett's Instagram, and I think Everett had already gone to Oklahoma City, you know, and he's living his best life. Meanwhile, you over here just fucking every nigga that comes around, okay? And I'm just sitting here like, Drew, I really hope that nothing happens to Drew. Now, Detective Whitman, he also said something about Drew and his arm and all that stuff to Monet. Now, let me tell you something. Whitman was aiming to get his ass whooped, okay? He was aiming to get knocked the hell out, but it didn't happen. But at the same time, Drew, I don't know, the way they got him moving and he like in a depressive, heartbroken state, I need him to get up out of it because he just been giving me signs since season 1 that something, he may not make it to the end of this series. He's just been giving me signs like that. Meanwhile, you got Tariq and Brayden over here at this conference or whatever where all these millionaire rich shot callers on Wall Street and all that stuff, you know, with Brayden's Uncle Lucas, because they're trying to get this black billionaire, RSJ. He played not Weebay, but one of the other dudes on The Wire. He was also one of the guys on the new series of the new season of Wu-Tang Clan that comes on Hulu. But basically, they trying to get his business, okay? And the main reason why he want them he got Tariq there is because dude is black and he want them to appeal to the black man. Because then as soon as dude came over there, he was like, you want me to give you your business, you want to get my business, but yet you done turned down a lot of my friends, okay? And most of them was black. So is it a color thing? He was like, no, that ain't what it is. I turned it down just so I can get to you. And he was like, oh, okay, if that's what you think. Meanwhile, he wanted to set up an actual appointment with them in New York. And so Tariq had stopped him and, you know, was trying to ask him to expound on some of the things that he was saying, like, you know, about the money stuff that he's gonna the way that he's working with business. It was something to the point of, we're not just gonna go, it makes more sense to go after smaller groups of people and get the same or more amount from them than to go after one big fish and not get as much or something like that. And so Tariq winds up applying that to the whole situation that's going on with their operation. Okay, so we got the business back started at Stansfield. You know, Diane, she realized that, of course, it must be going on. Brayden's sister realized it because it looked like another Course Connect situation is going on. And it is what it is. And that's Effie if it is. And Diane, baby, what you thought that you was going to be making at a student freaking store? Girl, you must have thought that you was going to be making a lot. Baby, after they take them taxes out, that's if you make enough to take taxes out, okay? Because she was astonished. She said, girl, what the hell is this? When she opened up that thing, baby, she reminded me of my sister when she got her first paycheck. She was like, what the is this? I said, that's what happens when you work part-time, okay? That's the part-time paycheck, you know? And just be glad you ain't got your taxes taken out of it because you won't work enough yet, okay? But yeah, I'm just sitting here like, okay. And so you got that going on. And then, what else is happening? Yeah, so they all had to meet up. They meet up. They telling Kane what they gonna do because, you know, Tariq came up with the idea of a way to try to get the drugs into the Wall Street area and into the building or whatever. They're gonna use like coffee. Caffeine is a big legal substance that you can go into, and people can get addicted to caffeine. All right, so they're gonna get the coffee cups and put false bottoms on them, and in the false bottom is gonna be where the drugs will be at. How are we gonna get them to pay for the drugs? Are we gonna get them to pay through credit cards? And if we get them to pay through credit card, then that means that it's gonna can easily be transfer or trace back to, Tariq or Braden. So now it's like, let's do a course connect for Wall Street. I said, oh my goodness, this is a lot, So they trying to think about that. You got Drew and them all sitting there, of course, just listening. And once they finish and they come to a conclusion of what they gonna do, baby, Kane said, Braden, you stay behind. So when he did that, he told him about what they gonna do. They already talked about the whole situation of taking out the Connect for Frank's sons, okay? And so Kane told Braden, you going to take out the Connect, all right? And that's what's going to happen. He said, why the hell I'm going to take it out? Is it because you're playing a race card? Because I'm rushing him? Because he rushed in and I'm white? And he was like, no, dum-dum. It's because we don't want Frank's sons to think that it's us that's doing it, meaning Kane and Lorenzo's, the Tejadas that's doing it. And we don't want the Russians to think that it's, them that did it. You know what I'm saying? So we get a somewhat neutral player to all of them, or an anonymous person to all of them, and they take it out and it won't trace back to neither one. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, all right. And the only thing that Brady had an issue with was Kane said we're going to do it after he come out of church. He was like, what the freak? I said, hey, this is the drug game. Just go ahead and do what you got to do. So while Dave was up in there talking or whatever, Tariq had got a text from Davis, and Davis said, come meet them. So it was Monet, and they had to tell her what was going on. The whole situation about, Whitman bringing up Dante's name and him being right about somebody watching the penthouse. Because Dante told her all about the fact that, that's why you got Kane and them all up in the penthouse and all that stuff. So y'all have to be in on this whole situation with Dante and woo, woo, woo. And so now it's like they trying to figure out what they're going to do with this whole situation. And, Monet want to take Whitman out. But see, Davis, thank God he was there telling her, no, just sit there, be cool. I got this under control. Because he going to file like this harassment suit against him, or order of protection, whatever, harassment suit with the department, which ain't going to do nothing. And then, Tariq figured it out, like, so if Whitman is on to Monet and still talking about this Carrie situation and Dante and Z, so that means that 9 out of 10, he know about me as well. So David said, y'all just keep y'all distance, right? Meanwhile, you get over there with Whitman, he get called out by Jenny and Blanca about the whole situation and how, you got this harassment suit filed against you or whatever. You going over there to her bar and you're harassing her. He don't care. He don't care at this point, and he just said, F it. Y'all have a good luck with y'all Rico case. Ask me how many fucks I give about what you feel and whatever. So at this point, I feel like Whitman is probably the most dangerous person on this cast because he is a lone ranger, okay? And like Blanca said, he's a loose cannon, okay? He is a loose cannon at this point. And I feel like he's going to get himself killed. And at this point, it needs to happen. Let him run wild. Let him be the rodeo show bunny that he doing or whatever. And just let him get himself killed because it is what it is. He's just doing the absolute most. Meanwhile, when Davis and Monet was up there talking to Tariq, why Saxe come past and see them talking. I said, oh Lord, here we go. So of course they got to go over there. They had a little meeting about everything that's going on. Brayden, Effie, and Tariq, letting them know about the whole situation with having Brayden go and kill the Russian. They was like, yes, we need to figure this out. This needs to happen. Brayden, he a little nervous because he ain't never killed nobody. Meanwhile, Kane thinking like, you the one that killed your best friend's girl, so you should be able to take this hit out, right? Effie knows the deal that, he basically bitched out. And so now it really has to be him to prove himself. And I'm just like, oh, it's just not going to happen the way that you think it's going to happen. And so speaking of Effie up there, putting the drugs up in the little safe or whatever that was made on the roof, I have to say, that was when Tariq and them had thought of that and then got the roof made and all that stuff, the bricks in the wall or whatever to look like the safe and everything, that was some genius stuff. I ain't even gonna lie. Tariq is smart, okay? He really is. But you wanna know who's not smart? Diane, girl. Let me just tell you this, ma'am. You really getting up in your feelings about this whole situation between Effie and Tariq again. It just wasn't going to happen, all right? Your mama wasn't going to allow it. You wasn't strong enough to be with a man like him and all of the whooping and running that he's been doing. You don't even want to be up in a drug game like that. So you would have eventually got with this man and then tried to convince him to get out, and it would have been a whole nother Tasha and Ghost situation, and it just never would have happened, okay? Because then you would have been Ghost. He would have still been Tasha, because Tasha wanted him to stay. You want him to get out. You done told Effie, this ain't even the life that you want. You ain't want your parents' life. If that's what you're talking about, the drug game or whatever, because you just wouldn't make it. I feel like you wouldn't survive it. You wouldn't survive it being with Tariq either, And I think you need to just get over it. And at this point, Effie don't owe you nothing. You and Effie were really not friends. And so when she told you that whole stuff about, not being with Tariq and it's not working, that's not what you need or whatever, yeah, she got with him because she can sustain that. Mama been on her own for a while. Mama know how these streets work because she's actually been in them streets. You haven't. So therefore, you don't need a man like Tariq. Well, you don't need a little boy like Tariq, technically speaking. I just can't look at him like a man, okay? Technically, he is of age to be called one, but I just don't see it. But he still look like a little kid. He's still on Power season 3, okay? That's what he look like. Meanwhile, she was like, listen, because I ain't finna fight over no nigga. She's like, I ain't finna fight over no nigga either. But, you can come to the team with us, okay? You want me to come to the team with y'all? Child, please, all right? I ain't even want this stuff that my mama and daddy had. I'm sitting here like, okay, well then what's your issue, Diane? Get over it. You stay with your little TA dude who's questionable, and then let her have her Tariq. Now, if they get killed in the street, they get killed in the street, and that's just how it is. Go about and do your day. She irks me so much. I'm sitting here like, you're making up an issue for what? You're making up an issue for what? Because you didn't get the man? And if he really wanted you, don't you think he would have went and fought for you and got you? Baby, you wanted him when he was with somebody else already. Before Effie, he was with Lauren. You were not in the picture, and truth be told, you kind of was, but I never thought he saw you as that way of being like a girlfriend. I really thought y'all was just gonna be one of the motherfuckers that he cheat on his girl with. You was gonna be a sad bitch. I just felt that way for Diane. Diane don't give me strong. She really don't. She gives me very much the weakest link right about now. And then you get in your feelings over this. It's so stupid. And you want to know what else is so stupid? What happened to Redman? Y'all really pulled that, and y'all thought that we weren't going to notice this in the same season. In the same season, we literally just saw him, I think, up in episode 1 talking about so he need a new liver or whatever he need. And then now in episode 3, y'all done switched out Redman for somebody else that's supposed to be playing Method Man's Mr. Davis' brother, and then gonna put Saxe on the case. Now, see, Davis, let me tell you something. Why would you put Saxe on this case, okay? Not thinking that, and not telling Saxe that this is your brother, because when old boy said F you and left, I tell my brother that you came or whatever, Saxe was like, oh, it was like he just realized that that's his brother. And I'm sitting here like, oh my goodness. So at this point, I feel like Davis used to, because now Sex was trying to get out of him, and he started talking about the height difference. You 5'11". The person that got allegedly was on scene that did all this stuff, he was around 6'3", 6'4". So who was you taking the fall for? Obviously, his brother is in jail because of him. Davis did something, his brother took the fall for it, and that's just what it is. That's why Davis going so hard and feeling so guilty about him being in jail, and then the fact that he's sick as well. So, you know, I said, now why would you give it to Saxe? No one trusts Saxe, all right? So I'm just, anyway. Meanwhile, you got Rashad and Harper, Professor Harper, up there kicking it with each other, catching up. And we realized that, you know, she used to go with him. She was the only girl that ever broke his heart, and that's why he just can't get it right or whatever. They wind up kissing and rekindling stuff right then and there. And I said, Harper, you gonna let him come back like that? You don't even know him no more. Meanwhile, here come Jenny and Blanca busting up the scene, talking about the whole situation with Tariq and, you know, how he know drug dealers and all this stuff. He said, well, if I know drug dealers, shouldn't it be y'all job to be taking these drug dealers off the streets or whatever? And this whole situation with Tariq, baby, I don't know nothing about it. Tariq did come to me asking for an internship, and I said no, because it just ain't going to work and it just ain't going to look right. He over there with Weston and Holdings, okay? And if you want to know who that is, that's his good boy, Braden, the one who actually confessed to doing all of this stuff. So if you want to go do something, go kick it over there, okay? Because I ain't got nothing to do with this, you know? And I'm just sitting here like, what y'all trying to do? Intimidate him? Baby, you going to have to come up a little bit early to intimidate Rashad. Mind you, he used to be a cop too, so... Or in that field, so he knows what it is. And Blanca, eat my cookie like that, now I'll pop you in your face, okay? I just was not here for that. I really wasn't. Rashad, you better than me. And you want to know why? No, you're not better than me, because you a man. You ain't supposed to be hitting on no woman unprovoked. Well, you ain't supposed to be hitting on nobody, period. But bitch, you ate my stuff, and I would have just went on ahead and popped your ass because I paid for it. Not for you to put your lips on there, okay? Blanca my ass. Meanwhile, we get the Russian guy coming out of church, and then he's supposed to be waiting on somebody to come, and he trying to get past, but it's a car blocking the street, and the car just so happens to be Braden. Braden come up there acting like he trying to deliver some food, and asking him, did he order the food, and how can he get to this place or whatever to where it's supposed to go. And he's supposed to be the one to shoot the boy, but he couldn't, so therefore Tariq had to come up there and pop that nigga like that. And so they running from the dudes, and they run up into this Italian restaurant. Now, since when Tariq know Italian? Tariq just he the United Nations up at this piece. He came up to that man and said, we need a table. They said, listen, we don't do walk-ins. He said, we big tippers. Give us the table, okay? I said, oh, wait, you. He said that up in Italian. I said, oh, dude said money talks, okay? Here go your table right here. And he was pulling out big bills, all right? And meanwhile, you know, Braden was trying to act like he was all cool, calm, and collected. He did what he had to do, you know, but he was mad because he froze up like Elsa. I said, and I'm so glad Tariq kind of understood. He was like, everybody got their strengths. You just not a killer, and that's just what it is. That's not your strength. And so he goes and he go away like he was going to the bathroom, but he go behind his wall and he just have a little trying to catch his breath, and then he gives Kane a text to tell him that the situation is taken care of. Okay? Meanwhile, Effie and him having a conversation, Tariq, you know, about the whole drug game, and once they get this off the ground, she can be able to meet her quota. And once she meets her quota, what she trying to set aside, what she gonna do. She was like, nigga, you literally just got through shooting somebody. You really want to keep on looking over your shoulder? We can do this together. We can be like my mom and dad. But see, listen, I'm smarter than my dad. My dad was the one that messed stuff up. My mama was the brains behind the operation. Even in death, he can't get that man no type of credit, okay? But he is his mama's son, all right? And so he is mama's son and he's daddy's son too. And he just don't want to realize it. But at the end of the day, they acting like they gonna be together. Truth be told, I don't see it for Effie and Tariq. I really don't. I really don't. You want to know why? Because even listening to some of the conversations that Effie has been having, Effie don't want to be in the game that long. Effie is clearly just doing this to get amount of money that she needs to get comfortable, because she hasn't had that, right? She has a goal Tariq don't have a goal, okay? Tariq is getting excited by all of this. Oh, we doing this. We gonna be able to meet this quota and all this stuff. And I want to continue to do this and continue to do that, because remember when we first started this, Tariq didn't need to do none of this. He did it because of whatever reason he wanted to. And so I just don't see. I see them having conflict later, and I just don't see them lasting that long. But we shall see, cause Effie on another tip. All right. Now, how about the guy that we saw Drew on the phone with when he got through doing old boy, that we saw him in the first scene at the very beginning of this episode, that he matched with on Grindr, that had that tattoo on his arm, with his arm behind his back? Why was it one of Frank's sons? Girl, they was on their way to the penthouse to go talk to Kane about bringing up with them and being they connect, letting Kane be they connect and all that stuff. Girl, Drew coming down the steps and his notifications on Grindr going off. Your connect or your match is 50 feet away, 30 feet away, 20 feet away. Why? Because he's coming up on the elevator, okay? And then when he get off, he was like, oh, look at you. Look how you look. He was like, yeah, because back in the day, he was like, yeah, I used to be fat. And then he put his arm up like this, and you saw the tattoo. I said, child, listen, let me tell y'all something. I know it'd be like some people like, why I gotta be gay shit up and stuff or whatever, woo, woo, woo. But let me just tell y'all this. Y'all really think all them niggas that's out there on the street don't be doing each other? There's more DL niggas out there than you think, okay? And that's the issue, because niggas can't be themselves because of what hyper masculinity and toxic masculinity is or whatever, and homophobia, especially in the Black and Latin communities. But that's neither here nor there. I said, ooh, Drew. Now who topping who in this one? I would like to see it. But see, you could tell that dude, he was the main leader. He's the leader of the brothers. It's four of them. And so he was like, it just so happened that we were supposed to meet up with y'all, and then our connect get killed at the same time. So now we supposed to meet up with y'all so we can get a new connect with y'all. Who you sent out there? Because they said that the person was black. Kane was like, no, they said it was white, because he thinking it was Braden that's supposed to have done it, right? Because that's what Braden told him. And so at this point, they going back and forth for a second, and Drew had to say Kane was with me all night packaging up the stuff or whatever, so it couldn't have been him. And so of course eventually Lorenzo had to come through and smooth things over and be like, we family. Uncle Frank, Frank, he was family or whatever, and so this is what he would have wanted, for us to be working together. And so they took a majority vote, and then they said, okay, cool. And I'm just like, Lorenzo had told old boy that Kane was the one that's going to be running the business. So, of course, now Drew is in his feelings. And I said, now, Drew, boo-boo, now how is it that you in your feelings when your head ain't all the way in the game? You still stuck on Dick and Everett. So, what's the issue? What is the issue? You know what I'm saying? And at this point, because the way Lorenzo played this off and got this on, Kane was like, you did a good job, but for you saying what you said about Drew and in this stupid kid type of situation, I'm gonna need you to go put some extra weight out there. And I said, wait, go ahead and do it. Now, Lorenzo, let me just tell you this. You remember when I said I just don't trust him? And I don't know if Kane probably gonna kill him before Monet find out, or he gonna get killed and then Monet gonna find out that it was Lorenzo. Something about that. I feel like it's about to be son versus father, and I mean to the death, and I feel like Lorenzo is not gonna get out of this situation. Meanwhile, Lorenzo gonna take that drug bag down there to campus of Stansfield while Diane is up there finna get a freak on with Mr. T.A. man. I just don't see it. I don't trust this little sleepy. He just be looking so sleepy to me. His eyes are lazy or something. I don't know. And Ashley grew up with a lazy eye, so I know one lazy eye bitch to another. Okay? But they was in there kissing or whatever. And I said, ain't no lock on the door, because he knocked on the door and came right on in. I said, excuse me, we ain't at home. She was like, he said, get the hell out. And so he comes up there not to check on her, but basically to get her to sell some drugs up there at Stansfield. Because of all the stuff that's going on, talking about some She was like, is everything okay? You know, with Kane and the way that he was disrespecting you and talking to you and all this stuff. I said, baby girl, calm down. But see, Lorenzo finna play on Diane. He know that Diane, you know, like want to be the baby girl and all this stuff, and the only one that really got his back. And so at this point, while he playing on her sensibility, and she already said she's no use to them if they don't need her no more or whatever. And now he playing on that and wanting her to sell drugs up there. Use her job to sell drugs. I said, girl, you should already see what it is. See, if he had offered you a job and you didn't want to take it, now because your daddy doing it, you can't say no to him because you want Poppy's favor or whatever. And so then we get to what should we call it? Saxe. David's going there and tell Saxe that, you know, I heard that you went up there and talked to my brother, talked to Theo. Yeah, your brother, okay? I talked to him. And why you ain't tell me that that was your brother and all this stuff, and that you went down and you let him take this fall for you. And basically an incident happened where I guess a cop was the victim and they forced him to take a deal. And Theo decided on his own to, you know, cover it up and take the fall for his brother because Davis was on the way to going to Columbia College for his law degree. He was 21 years old. He didn't know law back then, and he would have been told him not to do what he did. So basically, it wasn't his decision. He wasn't the one that told him to take the fall. Theo did it on his own. And so that's why he's trying so hard to do what he's doing to get him out. And he wants Saxe to help because Saxe knows the inner workings of how the FBI and all of that police stuff works and how they, you know, do black and brown people. And so, of course, Saxe said yes. But at this point, I really still don't, you know, trust Saxe with this situation just because he sees it, you know, sees what's going on. Meanwhile, Monet had to call Davis and tell him, why is Whitman still sitting outside? Whitman's still sitting outside. He's still, you know, harassing me and all this stuff. He said, I already told you that this harassment claim is not going to stop him, but I am working on stuff. Just keep proof and evidence every time that he comes around. Because when I tell you that man is just literally sitting outside the house, he's just sitting outside the house. Girl, I'm so tired of him. Like, I just want Monet to go ahead and put a bullet in him. Like, just go ahead and do it because he's just, Meanwhile, over there with the kids, they get their shipments of the cups, and it's called No Cap Off Wraps, and they got it set up in a course correct type of situation for the Wall Street people at Weston's Holding, okay? And so, you know, the way that they won't get caught or put their names on it, they're using like Bitcoins or cryptocurrency or something like that, because one of the clients over there at Weston, they had got some money out of Lucas and them to do the cryptocurrency stuff, and they have not returned their investment. And so Lucas wants his money back, and they have like this whole thing called a crash coin. So that's what they're going to be using. They're going to cash that in so that they won't circle back to them per se. Because if they would have did the credit card stuff, it could have circled back to them, you know, leaving a trail and all that stuff. But Tariq got a phone call, and then Effie was telling Braden, you know what, you smart with this. And then she figures out that Braden was the one that got Tariq to lose his internship. And she was like, now, you know, once he found out that you did this also, he can get involved in this stuff, he gonna cut your ass out. He said, don't worry about it, it's all to the good. And I was like, just like he gonna find out the whole situation about what you did to Lauren or what you had done to Lauren. I was like, what? Meanwhile, he get a text from Kane, and Kane said, come on down here, we need to talk. And so he's sitting on top of that bench. The way he sat on that bench, I said, now see, I wouldn't have sat up there because that was too easy of an access for him to choke me up. And that's exactly what Kane did to Braden. He choked him up and basically was like, who the hell did you have come down there and take that man out? Because I told you to do it. And he was like, Tariq didn't do it, because they said Tariq did it, because of course he the only other black person that he know he be kicking it with besides Kane, right? And he was like, Tariq didn't do it, but who you hired to do it, okay? Because this is like the second time that you were supposed to do something that you didn't do, you know, and you owe me a body. That's clear point to the blame. And he was asking about Lauren. Who took Snitch Bitch out if you didn't take her out? And it was like, don't worry about it. Just know that it's done. And so at this point, something Brayden said, I think he kind of implied something or whatever, but either way, it made Kane hit up Effie. And I don't know if he hitting up Effie because he needed her to do something or he figured out that it had to be Effie that took out Lauren. Because y'all know Lauren still alive. But anyway, that was the episode, y'all. It was cute. I like the pace that we going. It's not too much. It's still keeping me fully entertained, fully invested. I'm still pissed off about them switching out Redman the way that they did. It's like, if you're going to switch somebody out, usually when I see people get the character switched out to a different person, a different actor, they usually wait until the end of the season, and then the next season it'd be a whole nother person. You know what I'm saying? Baby, they did that within 2 episodes. I said, damn. Redman, what you doing? But anyway, y'all tell me how y'all feel about it, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. Ooh.